Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another live stream. It looks like it's a done deal. Ruud van Nistelrooy to become the next Leicester City manager. I thought it would be rude not to get Daz on. See what I did there? Daz, what's your thoughts on what looks like the official appointment?
Well, I like the style he brings, so I thought I'd commemorate the stream with a little turtleneck that clearly is not mine, and now I'm actually looking at it, I look ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm dead chuffed with the appointment, mate. If it's indeed confirmed.
Well, we've had John Percy, Fabrizio Romano, everyone who's got any ounce of credibility saying it's a done deal. As far as I'm concerned, it's a done deal.
Done.
And
yeah.
But I worried, when we sacked Steve Cooper, I worried as like, oh God, are we going to be in a period of limbo here where we don't have like any manager and we're just sort of in no man's land for a while? Top over this last week has really impressed me, and with a lot of things. But how quickly this appointment's been done is one of them.
Yeah, I rate this. Just staying on that topic there, because obviously I'm sure there's other topics we can cover later on about Top. But how quick this appointment's been done, and quickly identifying that Graham Potter is not his target, because obviously he's messed us about. He doesn't want David Moyes. It's clearly been one person for a while from Top. So to pull his finger out as he has is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just going to get into the live chat. There's a lot of people watching, which I do appreciate. So please do get the likes up. Go and check out Daz's channel as well. Links should be in the title. He's called you out straight away.
Yeah, it's definitely Mrs. Turtleneck,
100%. Neil, yes, mate. I'll put the link in the chat. Feel free to join as well. Going Dutch. I've pretended it hasn't happened so I can see and announce it. Much love, Tom. Much love. Your number one choice, big up top. I'll be honest, wasn't my first choice. I wanted Carlos Corberán, but I'm still very excited by this.
Yeah.
It's feeling that the players will have to, unlike last appointment. We'll get on to the players in a second, but as much as Steve Cooper wasn't the right man, and I stand by that from day one, should never have got the job, Ruud van Nistelrooy will demand respect instantly. And I think these players need someone who's got a little bit of authority about them, because Enzo had that and none of those players stepped out of line. With Steve Cooper, they treated him like a substitute teacher, I thought, at times, Taz.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I think that's the one thing that we can definitely expect from Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's been not only and proven himself as a very good coach and capable at PSV, but on the main stage as well in the Premier League. Hundreds of thousands of fans over his career cheering his name. He's not here to mess about, and quite frankly, I think, like you say, he will demand respect, and I think he'll get it instantaneously, because Jamie Vardy will know, obviously, about Ruud, and obviously the whole consensus of the team and Vardy. So I think, yeah, it's a really, really good appointment.
Glad Ant doesn't drive buses for a living. Sorry, we were having a bit of a laugh before we came on about looking for a turtleneck. You can only find your missus.
Literally, I thought I had one from All Saints ages ago, and I was running around, and she was like, "What are you looking for?" I was like, "I want a turtleneck." So she just passed me hers, and I thought,
I bet you she's like, "What are you on about looking for?"
Oh no, she knows damn well what I'm on about, because she ran downstairs and told me. So.
Might take a little time to implement his tactics, but for best news we could ask for. Cannot wait for Tuesday. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to Saturday a lot more now. But
absolutely,
yeah, 100%. I think we probably will see a bounce in terms of sort of running, etc. And we're going to get into why. I don't think it's just because it's a new manager, but I think we're going to see players with a real point to prove. But in terms of tactics, ideas, he needs to be given time. And I also think January is going to be huge for him. I think he does drive buses based on the wait time in Leicester.
I'm going to say he's early.
I've got nothing to say, Stu.
Just don't.
Richie, how are you doing, my friend? I hope you are well. Here we go. Ambiance is starting. It's like being at the cinema. This. See, you get it all when you come here, Stu. I've been hoping to do a ticket swoop with this guy behind me so I can take my grandson next game. That's not happening now. No, I think the tickets, and there was a fair few available tickets, will have gone very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Neil, I've put the link in the chat, mate. So do let me know. I can send it to you on Twitter as well if you need. Sam, how are you doing? I hope you are well. As a Man United fan, I'm happy for RUUUUUD and Leicester. You're finally going to see some exciting football for once. Yeah, he comes in, and what I hope doesn't happen, you saw with Villa at Gerrard at Villa, where Liverpool fans were defending him left, right, and centre, even though he was god awful. So I hope we don't have that with United fans if it doesn't turn out right. But touch wood, we won't have that problem.
No.
Oh, mate, imagine that, some Christmas turtleneck match. They're missing it.
Buy one.
They're missing the trick there.
Actually buy that.
That's a big claim. RUUUUUD will do better than Youthra and Brendan if he stays for a few years. That'll mean he would have to win 2 trophies for me and get us either Champions League or Europe for like 3 or 4 seasons. Anyone who comes in and does more than Brendan, like as sour as it went towards the end, is going to have done one hell of a job.
Absolutely.
Prashant, how are you doing? I hope you are well. Feeling optimistic and a little excited. I'm very excited, mate. I'm very, very excited. And as I say, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a manager that I was really screaming for and saying I want. That was Carlos Corberán. But I think he ticks a lot of the boxes. It's a great appointment. And I think Steve Cooper, he's left, like, as dire as it was getting towards the end, in terms of points on the board, he has left us in a half-decent position, Daz.
Sorry, just send the link. Yes, mate. Yeah, it's there's worse places where he could have left us. Quite frankly, so we could have been in Southampton's position, and again, let's be quite frank. I think we were quite blessed with a couple of the results under Mr. Gremlin, but I feel that we've got him in a good position. We are outside the bottom 3 at the moment, and I can't. It was great. It was great.
Christmas came early. I'm just turning into a prop comic, aren't I now? I've had the Enzo, I miss you. Literally, I'm in the middle of Christmas wrapping at the moment. But yeah, great news. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's coach.
Oh, mate. I genuinely just can't stop smiling. It's like the first time I've done one of these streams for a while where I've just felt really positive about everything. Like, even when we've won games before, I haven't felt particularly positive. It's like, yeah, we've won, but that's a plaster over an axe wound.
We got away with one. We didn't win.
Yeah. This is the first time I've felt for a while, like, really positive, Daz.
Yeah, and you know what? It's nice to feel that way. It's difficult sometimes as a Leicester fan. But, you know, look, I think top, and we've got to take hats off to him. He's done really well in getting rid of it. He's done really well in getting the appointment done fast. And he's done really well for picking, in my opinion, the right guy for the job, you know. I'm over the moon, mate. I don't, you know, I'm just over the moon. I just want us to have a good performance on Saturday and, yeah, be a perfect week.
RUUUUUD will demand respect and high standards. You'll definitely see a different system with 3-2-4-1 in possession and compact midfield and fast-paced rotation. Thing is, I agree with he'll demand respect, but if you look at his time at PSV, there was lots of different systems and rotations, systems and formations he used. Remember, with great power comes a great fuck you for still reading this. Jack, how are you doing, mate? Very excited about the appointment. He will be being authority and will demand 100% from the players. There's no way they hide. They need to perform. Come on, you foxes. Rudy. I'm excited to watch us this weekend. When did we say that last? genuinely, Neil, it feels like quite a while that I've felt excited for a game at the weekend.
Feels weird. We got used to Stockholm syndrome under Steve Cooper, didn't we? Really, I was like, I don't really know. I think not just that's aligned. There's one thing where we got a new manager in, but it's also the fact that I didn't think nobody thought they would act this weekend. I didn't think, and then sawing it, I couldn't stop smiling. Then on Monday, I was like, well, I thought they'd have a manager announcement out by now, and then Jane Pottershaw dropped out, Moyes dropped out, and I was thinking, okay, well, what's going to happen next? Corbrand dropped out, so okay, it looks like it's going to be rude, and then obviously John Percy came out with the news. For me, it is happy because again, I was fed up of making, because you can only say this. What it is, mate, we can only say the certain thing the certain amount of times. We can only set up with a 4-2-3-1 under Cooper. We're going to get exposed at right back. We're going to get away. We're going to be lucky with the results, even though we would have lost, and people would, from the outside, would have saw it as a good achievement. And it was repeating ourselves, and like it was almost like bashing our head against the wall, because the same things were happening every single week. We weren't learning our lessons. So the fact that somebody's going to come in, it's given us a whole new boost of what is going to happen, and that level of unpredictability is almost satisfying. It won't. I don't think there'll be a patch where it goes wrong, but I'm willing to back him just like Enzo. You mentioned about the demand respect. I think it's I don't know how to describe it. I feel like it's a different thing to Enzo. Maybe it's like the Italian flair of this is what I need, this is what I want. Where RUUUUUD coming in is a bit more like calm, stern. I still need this from you. One player I'm really looking forward to. I want to see how Tom Cannon develops, because a young player that's smashing it in the Championship. Then he comes back into the Premier League, and then he develops him into a better player. I think we're on for a real treat. But yeah, it will be really interesting to see who he gets the best out of, because one thing that we thought Steve Cooper was good at before we saw the ball kicked was actually developing young players. Now we've actually got a manager who's actually got a record of developing young players like Braithwaite, Madueke, Gakpo. Even though, do you see what I mean? So I'm really excited about it. But there's going to be, you got to kind of stick through the bad times as well, because I think that's an element that we've got to get used to.
Yeah, it's not going to be all plain sailing, and I think we're realistic of that. But for me, with Steve Cooper, it felt very much, regardless of results, it was always very short term. Even if he'd stayed for another month or so, there was nothing to really buy into, and no vision, know where we were heading. With this, Daz, for me, it feels like the right appointment, and it feels like there's, under Enzo, like, I don't think any of us expected him to move as quickly as he did, but I think we were all realistic of he wasn't going to be here for a huge period of time. But there was a vision, there was an idea to get behind. I feel like that again with RUUUUUD.
Yeah, I completely agree with you about the lack of identity and the lack of everything with Steve. But like I say, I'm trying my hardest to just back away from ripping into him now. I feel like he's been ripped to shreds, bless him. Lovely bloke, but just didn't fit. And yeah, with Enzo Maresca, I think it's the same sort of thing. Enzo Maresca for me was always going to be, I would expect a longer tenancy with us, like, a couple of years, get in the Prem, hopefully keep us up, continue playing the Enzo way, and maybe get us into that out of the relegation zone issue. This appointment is, to me, it seems like we could really kick on with Ruud van Nistelrooy, get behind him and his ideas, and solidify ourselves as a mainstay Premier League team. I'm not talking about breaking into the top 10 or out silly like that. But I mean, maybe first season stay up, second season build on that. Do you know what I mean? It seems we could be Ruud van Nistelrooy's like his little project. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could be, he did well at PSV, he's took over at Man United and had a really good, 4 or 5 games, wherever it was at Man United, and then look what he's done with Leicester City. He's kept him in the Premier League. He's done this, he's done that. I don't see him as one that's going to jump at the first hurdle either, quite frankly. As long as he gets what he wants from the board, which I think is another question, because he did leave PSV last time because the board and him didn't see eye to eye and he wasn't getting backed. So I feel as long as he gets backed, I think we've got a real manager that will really fight for the club and get the best out of the players that we've got. So, yeah, I echo what Neil says. I'm actually I'm actually really excited.
I don't want to tempt fate here, though, but if he is to jump ship, and I know we're going sort of a long way down the line, if he is to jump ship, it means he's done well here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, as much as you don't want it to happen, it's like, obviously Enzo came a lot earlier than we thought, but he'd done well here to get the opportunity to go to Chelsea. If RUUUUUD is to jump ship, which I don't think will happen quickly, and I don't want to tempt fate, it means he must have been a success here.
Did it say how long his contract allegedly was signed for? Is it like a 2 or 3 year deal? Has it not got those details yet?
Hasn't said yet.
I imagine it's going to be 3 years.
Yeah. But if they gave Steve Cooper bloody 3, they should give him the key to the city, quite frankly. But there we go.
I completely agree with this by Richard. I think it's important he gets a good team around him. Hopefully, he brings in high quality coaches.
Yeah,
but that's as important, isn't it, Neil?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just because the assistant manager and the tactics guy left with Steve Cooper, other guy called Steve. But it's important that he gets to bring in his own people. And I think there's, again, if we've got, people need to be aware, again, we are a smaller club in the sense that if a bigger team come knocking, we can't really stand in the way of them. And do we want a manager that is going to be here, that doesn't want to be here? You kind of got to get rid, and then the process starts again. Just like our transfers with the likes of when we saw Maguire, when we saw Mahrez, etc. Yes, these players were hard to replace, but we still managed to find a way of replacing them in one form or another. And the same thing will be with the manager. Unless you support a Real Madrid, a Man City, etc., you can expect your bigger teams to pick the meat off the bones, just like we've done to other teams in the past, in the French league, in the Belgian league, in the Championship, for example. We've done that to other players, but it's just that's how that works. So I'm really interested to see how he sets up, but it's given that new sense of hope. And part of that is obviously the appointment. It's also the way that Top has acted, because if we've not seen him act like this since he's been in charge, like the main leader of the club, and maybe that's kind of the switch. I think something clicked on Saturday or Sunday where he just went kind of AWOL, and he went, right, I'm going to do what I want now. It's my club, my reputation on the line, and this is what's going to happen. So he's already gone out and he made sure to speak to players. Go, what the hell's that? That shouldn't be happening. And again, he's put his foot down, and that's what I think that's what the players and us fans needed: clarity and a bit of direction. And we were running for a long time, and we were going towards the cliff to fall off the edge. But it felt like nobody. We were banging on the door, going, something's happened, lads. It's not going well. But now it feels like we've actually been answered to and given a solution, and it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be straightforward. But I feel like I'm right. Okay, I've at least got something or somebody to back, and I understand what the club is doing. Because before I was like, I don't know what the plan is.
Yeah, I hear that. And on the topic of Top, I just want to bring this up now because I think this is a lot of what Neil was referring to. So Top criticised players in training ground meeting over poor performances, which led to Steve Cooper's sacking and the Copenhagen party video. Unfortunate timing perhaps, but Top felt the video smeared the club's family image. It's like Top's really, I think he's, for so long we've said we just want him to be like, we're missing that ruthless edge that we used to have. I think, as Neil said, something has switched with Top in the last sort of week, maybe slightly longer, where he could be, as Neil said, it's his reputation that's on the line as well. It's not just like it's not just the fact that obviously the club wasn't doing fantastically well. When that video came out and we all had a laugh about it, thinking it was quite funny, it's an awful look for the club, though.
It doesn't look great, does it? Let's be fair. It almost, like you say, it kind of like taints the Leicester City-esque thing of it, which is like, the togetherness, we sing the same song pretty much every game before we start the game, for crying out loud. It's the whole world smiles. We're supposed to be a together club because of what's happened in and around the club over the years, and I'm not saying that the players have spat in the face of anybody, but I mean, you guys know my stand on it. I think it was extremely childish, quite frankly. You know, if you didn't like Steve Cooper, keep it in the training ground, or keep it between yourselves. You know, the whole miss you Enzo thing. I mean, Ruud's going to walk in there. I mean, obviously Top's gave him the business now, but I think Ruud will go in there and it'll be no nonsense, no shit. Yeah, you having none of that.
Yeah, so. To me, it felt like that. As much as I think that Steve Cooper should never have been appointed in the first place, feels like Top was fuming and almost feels like he's felt slightly disrespected by it.
Well, you've got to look on why that is. And obviously, it looked like they stacked all their cards on Graham Potter. And then Graham Potter basically went, I want my way. We go, well, that's not happening. Cool. I'm not going to do that then. And they went, what now? And then it felt like Steve Cooper was the backup. Now, I want to say that, but I wanted Steve Cooper to work. Any manager that comes in, I want to back him and say, look, he'll keep us safe for the season. I wanted to get behind Steve because at the end of the day, look, it's not his fault, the points deduction. It's not his fault for certain things that are happening at the club. But you have to be responsible for your own actions. And there was a little bit of time where I thought, okay, I'm buying into what Steve is doing. For me, it was the Aston Villa match. You know, he threw everything at it. And we just, again, it didn't quite work out. But actually, look, I'm going to back him. And then as games went on, certain things were coming out. It's just certain mistakes and we were getting worse. So I'm really glad that whatever's happened has clicked. And something is going to hopefully change for the better because it's refreshing because we've not seen it in such a while. And I think I also had PTSD from the year that we went down from the Premier League. Because a lot of the same things were similar. The performances weren't there, but the media and other people in the media were saying, well, and you've seen it with Steve Cooper. Steve's a nice guy. I don't think you'll find a single Leicester fan like, no, he's an evil guy. He's a nice guy, but you can work with somebody that's just not good enough, and that's absolutely fine. So, yeah, I'm really glad to see where this goes and how much we are going to back it. Let's be honest, Steve Cooper got backed a lot. But what are we going to do with some players like Oliver Skip? Because we've got how many midfielders now? 6 in the central midfielders? And then potentially one more if we count El Canoes.
I think, and whoever I said this regardless of who came in to replace Steve Cooper, all those players that have struggled this season, it's a fresh leaf, it's a new page, and they deserve the new start. I think Ollie Skip's a very good midfielder that we haven't seen the best of yet. I think there's a fair few players that we haven't seen the best of yet. I don't know if you'd agree, Daz. These players, they deserve a fresh chance under a manager who, I was going to say who's cut out at this level. We don't know if he will be or won't be, but we know for a fact Steve Cooper wasn't.
Yeah. Look, every time a new manager comes into a club, we all know it's kind of like you get to audition yourself, essentially. You'll get like your mainstayers, for argument's sake. You know, we know Vardy's going to be obviously a striker. The best team to use really is going to be Manchester United as kind of like a thing. Like Ruben Amorim's come in. So same as Ruud van Nistelrooy's coming into us. We know Bruno's going to stay because he's the captain and all that sort of stuff. But it's an audition for everybody else to say, oh, Ruud, this is what I can do. This is what I can bring. And when I watched that tactical video, that analysis video from Ruud van Nistelrooy, because I've watched that like 2 or 3 times now, he seems to know different things. Like I know he plays maybe like a certain way or whatever else, but he seems to be very big on the opposition and how to diminish their strengths as well as, you know, what they were good at. So, you know, that from maybe like Steve Cooper, from just talking about what he was saying in his press conferences and stuff, he was very much of the opinion of, oh, well, we just need to focus on what we're good at. Well, no, not really. You know, so having someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy there will give these players a fresh lease of life. I think we're still yet to see the best of El Canoes. I think we're still yet to see the best of Oliver Skip. And I want it to work for Skip because, you know, we paid a lot of money for him, and you know, fans will get behind him or they won't if it's like, oh, he's like 25 million. Look how rubbish he is, you know. And look at me, look at Dakar. I mean, you know, Dakar's not worked. Maybe he could get a tune out of him. It might work miracles. You just don't know. So I'm excited. It's weird.
Uh,
Very weird.
David said, sadly, with the Evan Ferguson ones, we either have to purchase him or purchase Buonanotte to be able to then loan another one. Ty's are big on family and respect to others. His dad did the same to Pearson. It's a cultural thing, isn't it? They're massive on respect. And it's like, even though it hadn't worked in terms of like a business sense with Steve Cooper, because Steve Cooper being the manager was for sort of business and his job, it's the disrespect following it. I think it's one thing fans doing it, but for the players to be doing something like that's just not on. But I'm going to leave that there because I don't want to. I don't want to.
I think part of it as well is that Top took it personally because potentially he allowed it to happen.
Yeah,
he must have thought of his watch, going, look, if your kid, kind of like your kids in a sense, your kid is misbehaved, the parent is going to look at it and go, that is my responsibility to sort this out. And I'm not saying that it's the same thing, but he's going to look at it and go, that's my responsibility. If somebody misbehaves in a company, the CEO gets bollocked. Simple as. It all goes to because again, if a child misbehaves, they go, but what the parents do? How have they raised? The reason why I want to bring this up, maybe not defenders as much. There's a few other people that I want to touch on who I think would really develop. First of all, Michael Golding. I want to see more of him. That'll be really good. McAteer, now that Fatau is out, I really want to see him develop on that right, and let's see how much we can get of him. Another player, again, you mentioned Oliver Skip, would be a really interesting one. Another player that I think, again, you might disagree with this. Obviously, Buonanotte is already developing. I think D. Cordova-Reid can have a huge lease of life again. I think if you get him playing the right system in the right way, playing to his strengths, there's a lot of people that write him off. I think there's a real player in there. And there's a reason why the Fulham fans were saying, oh, we're really sad to see him go. So,
yeah,
I think Bobby Cordova-Reid is a real player that we could get something out of.
Yeah, the thing is, the Fulham fans, and he'd been there for years, hadn't he? Wouldn't have been as sad to see him go if there wasn't something about him. I agree with a lot, and I don't want to sort of bash any player individually. I'm still not convinced Casey McAteer is a Premier League player, but to caveat that, I've only seen one half of him under, or was it 60 minutes under Steve Cooper? So got to be fair to him. But I'm going to quickly jump into the live chat, guys. Do leave a like on the stream. Subscribe to Daz's channel as well. Links in the title, and if you're watching on Daz's channel, likewise come over to here and subscribe and like and all of that good stuff. Daniel, how are you doing? I hope you are well. I've seen this. I don't believe this because I think if there was an agreement in place with RUUUUUD in the summer, he would have been here in the summer. But I've seen the reports. What I struggle with is we've seen all the reports over the last few days saying Top didn't think Cooper was the right man, and a lot of people at the club didn't think he was the right man. I struggle to see why he was appointed with a 3-year contract, but I'm sure we'll get into. I'm going to leave that there because, as I say, I don't want to just keep bashing Steve Cooper because it feels like kicking a man when he's down at the moment.
Yeah.
I want the best for the Foxes. Hopefully, we can get to play on same pitch next season. Salah just missed a penalty. Shame, Matt.
Okay.
Did that sound really genuine?
Madrid, though.
Say that again.
They're 2-0 up against Real Madrid.
Are they? That is a shame.
Yes.
That genuinely is a shame.
They're falling apart. They are, aren't they?
Liverpool have had 64.3% possession. Real Madrid have had one shot on target.
I'll tell you what, though. Liverpool under Arne Slot have been unreal. But how often do we see it with Real Madrid, though? But at the start of the season, they're not great. And by the time it comes to the end of the season and the knockout stages of the Champions League, they're far in. But let's keep scrolling through the comments. Normally, Foxes chase Peacocks. If we do go up, I think it will be the other way around. I feel like you're talking to Arthur, who's a Leeds fan.
You see the word if?
Yeah.
We ain't going down. We ain't going down.
Yes.
Not this.
Again, I can't read all the comments because the chat is absolutely flying. You're a Leeds fan, by the way, Ant. Yeah, I clicked it. I clicked. Better late than never, and all of that. Would you recall any of the lads on loan? I
Cannon.
keep saying Harry Suter, but no one else seems to be in agreement with me. I think Harry Suter could do very well for us. I think there's a very good centre back there, and we don't have a very good.
How many
Sorry,
managers
go on.
has he under now? 4 managers he would have been. He was under Brendan Rodgers, then he was under Enzo, never fancied. Under Steve Cooper, obviously wasn't fancied. And now I think the Championship is the right level for him. I don't mean to say that in a disparaging way. But yeah, I'm not with you, mate. I think the writing's on the wall. I think he's just got to go.
He's either got to go or come back. Like loaning him out for all this time does nothing for anyone. It's like a loan this year. I think it's been the right thing for him because I don't if he wasn't going to play because he's gone to Sheffield United and he's smashed it, which has probably increased his value. But it's either it's either sell him or integrate him into the squad. But apart from that, I think the only realistic one's Tom Cannon, isn't it? But I would rather see him stay at Stoke to the end of the season.
Yeah.
Again, and he's one that wasn't fancied by Steve Cooper. But the best thing to do is for his own development. He's got 19, 20. Keep him out on loan. Keep him playing. Yeah. We don't need him back.
Not just yet.
Yeah, unless things get really bad. I don't think we need him back. So for now, just keep him out there. Get him scoring, then reassess in the summer. Because there is a difference between the Championship and the Premiership. People always forget that when somebody does well at the Championship. Unless they're absolutely smashing it. But even then, let them on loan. Keep them there.
Yeah. 3-year contract, presumably, in the hope that he was successful. So nobody could poach him cheaply. I'm guessing that's Steve Cooper. I suppose, yes, but at the same time, by everything that's being read, and I know this always comes out when a manager's been sacked, but the club always try and make themselves look better. And I think by actually doing it this time, they've made themselves look worse by saying they never wanted him in the first place. So why appoint him? But I do hear the logic of no one poaching him, but I also think that's very optimistic thinking that anyone was going to poach him. But have you seen what he's been linked to the Cov job?
Oh,
mate, how brilliant would it be if he went to Cov and got them relegated?
Did you see my meme that I put out? The let me see if I can find it. I'll put it up, and it's literally that 15 seconds of I think you retweeted it, and no, I'll find it.
Can't see anything. Super duper Frank at Cov.
I'd like to see Steve Cooper go there.
Super.
Do you know what's really funny? What's really funny about that is that fair enough, Tom. But the best one was oh no, never mind. My brain's gone blank. Got this up. I'm gonna play that. This is
I've seen this.
This is what I put out. I don't know if this is
and I put this in the nicest possible way. You're a bloody shambles and you haven't got a bloody clue. Not a bloody clue. You ain't that bloody great. You're called a bloody loser. You know, it's as simple as that. So you know where to go for the next job.
I predicted it.
Oh, I'm so proud of that, Neil.
That was good. That was good. I enjoyed that.
I should have edited it a little bit better, but I remember watching that set boy from years ago, and I thought that would be brilliant. But I just put in Steve Cooper based on his, but I'm not that talented.
This makes me laugh. I'll let you answer that one.
Do you think Steve Cooper is an Amsterdam right now? Right. Jesus Christ. I'm not answering that. I'm not answering that. No, not answering that. I will answer one though. David Chapman at the top there said, "Get rid of Edouard, back to Palace." I don't see anything wrong with that. He's been subpar when I've seen him play for us so far. I know he's had a bit part to play. I get that, but he's not really set the stage alight when he has come on and been given a chance. So
I feel, when you feel like most loan players that come in want to come in because they want to play football. I've never seen a player look like they don't want to be here less.
Just looks lethargic, doesn't it? Yeah.
He's come to Leicester to play football, and he's ended up playing less football than he played last year at Palace, which kind of takes some doing that. But it was very much, though. He got snapped. Daka got snapped in pre-season and got injured. And then it was just get anyone through the door.
Like the manager.
Yeah.
Oh, Neil.
Neil.
Oh, Neil. Fantastic, mate.
We can laugh about it now because I was crying this week. To make it stop.
Has Edouard been given enough time? El Khanous was nothing special at first, but his recent performances have been pretty decent. I think El Khanous is slightly different in the fact he was a young kid coming from, was it the Belgian league? The whole point of signing Edouard on loan was he's a Premier League ready striker that should have been able to slot in like a glove, and he just hasn't. But it'd be interesting to see if anyone's going to get a tune out of Edouard. It's surely going to be Van Nistelrooy, but for me, that ship's probably sailed.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say because I rate Daka. Neil knows how much I rate Daka. You know how much I rate Daka and how much I wanted it to work and to be excited. So I think Daka's ship sailed for me. I think Edouard's ship sailed for me. Edouard's a bit part player anyway, and he's on loan. So, but El Khanous, I think he was a decent player at Genk. He's good. He's been doing very well in the Moroccan side of things. He's not starting games there, but he's at least coming off on the bench and stuff. So I think there's like Neil said earlier, I think RUUUUUD will get the best out of quite a few players because players ultimately want to be coached and coached well, and they respond to a good coach. At least in my experience, anyway, with my team that I coach, they respond well to a good coach. Whether I am or not, I don't know, but they seem to be winning in tournaments, so doing something right. So, yeah, I think he'll get the best out of a fair few players, quite frankly.
Yeah, obviously we're going to finish off with this. We've got January coming up, and I think whoever was the new manager, or whether it was still Steve Cooper, needed to be backed big time in January. What do you think we need in January, Neil?
It depends on. I think we need a left back or left centre. It depends what RUUUUUD's going to play because he can play more persistence. I want to see what formation he plays. So I think let's think about positions we probably don't need. Probably don't need a centre back. Probably don't need a centre mid. A cam we're okay. So striker we're okay. I think the two places that we're weak at is left centre back and right back. So right wing, because Fatawi's injury.
Yeah, because we've seen reports that Top's really gone back the manager in January, and I do slightly worry about. I get Harry Souttar, Christensen, and Tete vibes from that, but for me, I think we need a centre back and a centre back who's going to walk straight into that team, and be like instantly a starter. I think we also need a right back, and then you can move James Justin back to left back, where I think he's much better. And for me, I think we still need a striker. Daz, what about you, mate?
Pretty much echo what you've just said there. I think we need a centre back who can walk in straight away, no adapting, no nothing, just be an instant impact. Potentially, I'd say a right winger. Potentially, I know Decordova-Reid can play there, and he can play as a cam. Jordan Ayew can play there, I suppose. But it depends on the profile that and the type of football that RUUUUUD wants to play. If he wants to have his attacking players with pace to beat his man and then go on the inside, they need to have pace and something about them. So I'd say a striker, though. I agree with the striker 100% and the right back again as well. So I think, three or four places need to be addressed. But I'd say a centre back and a striker for me probably would be more important, because the way he sets up, you tend to have like a 3 at the back on build up, the way that RUUUUUD was playing. So maybe could try and adapt a couple of players. I don't think he's afraid of doing stuff like that, quite frankly.
Yeah, guys, can we get the likes up on the stream? Let's make sure we before we finish, we get up to 40 likes. But Neil, when I was saying striker, you didn't seem too convinced.
Always, would you bring him? Because what's that going to mean for Tom Cannon?
I think it's very much a here and now kind of decision, because Tom Cannon's one that's for next season and the future. I think it's someone who's going to guarantee your goals to the end of the season. Someone, again, like I said about centre-back, might not be one that's for the future, but someone who's very, very much here and now, can make an impact, and might be another sort of 30-year-old. But I know it's not the route the club wants to go down long term, because as a business, man, I'll take Maguire.
I would as well. I'd take Maguire.
I would take Maguire back in a heartbeat.
Honestly, I would. I'd take him back, mate. Sorry to interrupt, but I had to say it. I'd take Maguire, 100%.
Yeah, but in terms of a striker, like, I can't think of.
Let's not forget that Jordan Nye can play striker as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 4.
He can, but I feel like you lose a lot of Jordan Ayew's strengths when you put him as a striker.
I'd send Edouard back and maybe get somebody in, another person on loan who's looking for game time, who's not getting game time at the minute, potentially. I don't know how that works.
But are they going to come in on loan to be third fiddle? Because Daka's going to be ahead, let's be honest. And then Jamie Vardy's not going to be replaced as number 1. So if we're out of the cup, we've got the FA Cup, that's it. We're not going to Europe or anything. So
True.
I don't know the player that's going to be that great that's going to come in. I'd rather keep Edouard, and not because I rate Edouard as a player, because I think that's as good as we're going to get. And that sounds really bad, but I can't see us getting a better striker than Edouard, who's going to be okay with sitting on the bench.
True. Because they'll cry about it, won't they?
It's almost who, like, if we bring someone in on loan, what role are we going to, what are they going to be given it? Because I think if you bring someone in who's going to rotate with Vardy, then I think that's fair enough. It's like, where's Daka in that pecking order is like a massively important point, Neil. Ayew is a super sub, can do a job winning fouls, no pace to hold up play though. Things he holds up the ball really well and he wins fouls very well, but as you say, there's not enough pace about him. But I wonder if, because a lot of players we've said, they've been a lot better off the bench this season. I do think there's an element of that, though. We've only started playing football in the last 20 minutes of most games, so whoever came off the bench is going to look better. What about Johnny Evans as RUUUUUUD's assistant?
Yeah, he'd be injured all the time for us.
People that are good players, there's a different thing between being a good driver and teaching somebody to drive well. They're two separate skills. Just because somebody sits behind the wheel in a car, do you know what I mean? Somebody, for example, an F1 driver might not be a good driving instructor because, again, they do something really well, but it's a different skill in order to teach somebody how to drive. And it's the same thing. Somebody could be some of the best players in the world. If you look at the best players in the world, they should be they're the managers, but they're not. Why? Because some of the players have to retire early. And you look at the players that tend to make it, they tend to be, for example, they tend to be respected, but they're not always the best in their industries because they've got a separate set of skills. So you can have both. But this is, again, just because he's a good defender doesn't mean that he's going to teach other people how to defend well. Just because he was leading on the pitch with Soyuncu.
It's like Kolo Toure was our defensive coach, and he was an absolute liability, wasn't he? But
defender, great. great defender.
Like, look at his time at Wigan, mate. Like, if you want to laugh. Like,
No, he's a defender though. But when he played,
I know. I was saying as a manager, mate, his time at Wigan was. But as a player, he's one of the Premier League greats, isn't he?
Steven Gerrard could play. Was a genuine one of the Premier League top 20 players? Premier League, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Top
You
20
could definitely
players.
make a case.
Yeah, but is he the top 20 managers? Absolutely not. Case in point.
I don't think I'll put him in the top 200 managers, let alone top 20. But yeah, the thing with whoever comes in, sorry, with Ruud, he needs, I think, a really good backroom staff to come in with him, and that's going to be as interesting. But something that apparently has stayed the same. You know, we have that set piece bloke from Norwich, and he's done really well this season for us.
Yeah.
He's stayed.
So, because that's a separate. Because Knudsen that we had before left when Enzo came, so it's obviously the club's decision, or they'll see, right, you're doing something, we'll stay, we'll keep you here. And some of the set pieces were of good quality that we've had, and we've had some good bits of set pieces. So it makes sense not to throw everything out. So
yeah,
it seems like they're not seen in the same form as like the assistant manager.
Now, the thing is, we haven't really scored from set pieces this season, but I don't think, apart from Arsenal, where we conceded one in the 93rd minute, have we conceded from a set piece this season?
Can't remember.
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah, but
without Harry, that's without some of the defensive players, and it's more. So from that logic, we've scored more goals offensively than we have was mistakes that led to a goal from set pieces, which is good. One against one against Southampton, and one against Fulham, I think, was on the corner as well.
Yeah, and it's like, do you remember a couple of years ago? And Neil, you came to a few games with me at this point, where every time a ball came in the box, we felt terrified, absolutely terrified. So, but the old set piece coach, didn't he have an argument with Brendan Rodgers and basically just walked out? Like, if rumours are to be true.
Yeah.
Surprise? No.
I am so shocked.
I see you two are so genuine.
Who was his number 2 at United? I don't know.
But it was, because
wasn't a lot of that Ten Hag staff that was still there?
Yes, and also Steve McLaren left to go be the manager of Jamaica. Again, put that as your bingo card because nobody saw that one coming. And then Ruud stepped in. I'm trying to find who was his assistant at PSV, but I can't really find it. They handed through a contract. I'll see if I can find him, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Let's have a look.
I can't find that information, just from searching for it. But again, just from reading it, he switches between a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-2-2 mid block. We can go to 3-2-4-1 as well. So they're different formations from what I can see. But
so apparently, his number 2 was Rene Hack.
Sure.
Yes, I don't know either.
Yeah, but again, if just we didn't know half of the players that were coming in under Enzo, Willy Caballero, oh yeah, we know him, but everybody else, did we really know who they were? Not really. Mm-hmm. So we just got to, again, sounds bad, we've got to trust him to get the right people in, and that's probably part of the logic where we've got a good foundation base, but I think it's a nice position because Ruud has something to prove as well. I don't think it's just we've got something to prove. Ruud has something to prove for us. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what we do from here because I'm excited, and that's one thing that I've not felt in quite a while.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing. It's the excitement, the hope, and the optimism and the buzz is back. But I think we are going to wrap it up here, guys. So please do leave a like on the stream. Daz's channel is in the title. Please go and click on it. And once I've finished, I'm going to put Neil's channel in the title. I got that the wrong way around. I was saying, I was like, that doesn't sound right. But Daz, please do let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube, LCFC_Daz. I have uploaded a Premier League predictions video. Yes, we are late, we know, but I've uploaded one. So jump over there, have a little look on that. And if you're not subscribed to any of these two, which I'm sure you will be, just comment, subscribe, like, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Neil?
I'm just reading that Van Nistelrooy already rejected the move to Burnley before he joined Man United.
He rejected one for Burnley. And did you hear what else to finish off on a really positive point is? You know who else he rejected 2 weeks ago?
Cov.
He knows his worth.
He does. Steve Cooper don't, so he'll go there.
Well, with that, that's the point I was going to make before. With what's it called, Mark Robbins, the fact that he left, got a big payout, and he got a doctorate out of it as well, within like a couple of weeks' time. So even they was celebrating that one.
Yeah, but I think we will wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who has been watching.
I need to crack on with my Christmas presents as well.
Before I came on, I was like, let's. I didn't see the news, and then I was like, oh, we've got it, and then time to wrap up.
Yeah,
He's got.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff.